I always felt attracted by the ocean. I think most of the people feels attraction by the ocean. So possibly the fact that I was also studying a subject related to the ocean had increased my interest in the ocean, my curiosity about the ocean. And later I became also a sailor. Um, and when I sail, what I feel is, on one hand, I feel the ocean, I feel the wind, I feel the waves, I feel the interaction of the boat with these two elements. I understand the pleasure that it gives me to sail, but I also understand what could be the challenge of sailing in a rough sea. I understand that in a way by the reaction of the vessel, but I also understand that from my studies as a wave energy researcher, because our research, on one hand, concentrates on extracting energy, but also on how to make it survive, because survivability is a critical issue for a wave energy device. So I think that sailing provide me, in a way, some real experience of the challenge that wave energy devices need to face. So wave energy came to us, to me and my supervisor, by an inventor. He brought with him a laundry tank where he had put a paddle in one of the ends, and on the other end there was a small wave energy device. So by moving the paddle you would produce some waves, and the wave energy device was producing electricity and connected to a small radio. And the radio could play very, very loud. So this was really impressive. We were impressed with this, and we thought, well, we need to understand better how this works. And therefore, my PhD thesis theme was to understand the interaction of the waves with this particular wave energy device. This was also very interesting times, because it was a time where we didn't know exactly the theory behind wave energy. There was a theory to understand how floating devices would interact with waves, but now how this motion could be used to produce electricity. Since the late 80s, early 90s, there has been a continuous effort to demonstrate the possibility of developing wave energy, of producing electricity through wave energy. And this has been a continuous process, a very expensive process, because anything you do in the water is extremely expensive. And that has been one of the reasons why it has taken so long to develop the technology. The other is the technology itself is complex, because it's not based in anything that exists previously. But I'm happy to see that today we are facing, or we are entering in what I think is a new era with wave energy technology being able to show that it can survive, that it can produce electricity. But if we look into solar PV or winds, onshore or offshore winds, you will see that in the start they were extremely expensive. And we know that there is what we call the learning curves. That is, costs will be reduced as you get more experience. So in that respect, I'm confident that wave energy will go along and will be able to demonstrate that it is a viable technology. On the other hand, wave energy is a different source than wind energy. The two sources are in a way disconnected. I mean, you may have waves without wind and vice versa. So it means that they are complements to each other in a way that if you have a combined farm of wind and wave, the output will be more smooth. Apart from that, wave energy is extremely forecastable in the sense that the waves that you have today, for instance in Portugal, they were produced 5 days ago somewhere in the North Atlantic. So we know that the waves will come and produce this amount of energy. And that has a value in itself because it will facilitate the management of the electrical grid. Well, we are in the house that was built in the late 16th century, and where I've been spending every year about 2 weeks with my family. And there is a sentence in the main entrance of the house that I think had an impact on me, which basically it says that you should develop some kind of social responsibility. And I relate this with, in a way, the acceptance of my PhD thesis team, which was developing wave energy in a time where this was still a bit crazy. But I thought that this could have an impact for humankind, and I think there was an impact of this sentence on my decision to go ahead, because I thought really that it could make the difference.